Welcome back to Skate Talk Online. Here we are previewing the Grand Prix final. It is the end of the first part of the season. I'm joined by PJ Kwong, as always, CBC sports commentator. And where can we see you this weekend?
It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. I'm going to be doing commentary on the live stream for cbcsports.ca. That's where you get it. I think the live stream may be geofenced, but the Facebook Lives that we're going to be doing will not be. And guess who? I've got a whole bunch of people coming in. I have Liz Manley coming in to do the short programs with me on Thursday night. Then former senior Canadian competitor and world competitor Asher Hill with ice dance. And Dylan Moskovich for the pairs, and I think just the men's free, because I think the women's free is on the main network. Regardless, there's going to be lots of Facebook Live time, so make sure you come in and give us questions, comments. We're ready for everything. cbcsports.ca. Thank you, Tony.
Perfect. All right, let's start off with the pairs competition. There's a battle probably for the gold medal between two teams, James Tsipras of France and Tarasova Morozov of Russia. Both teams have gotten off to a little bit of a slow start this season. The French mistakes in their short programs and then kind of coming back in the free skates. And then with Tarasova Morozov, we're seeing her have a little bit of struggles with the jumps, which we typically haven't seen in the past. So I think right now, at least heading into this event, it looks like they would be neck and neck. How do you think it's going to play out? Do you think it's going to be a close competition? If not, do you think one team maybe has looked better to you so far this season?
To tell you the truth, at the beginning of the season, I would have predicted Tarasova Morozov as the ones to take the Grand Prix final. I love their sort of classical aesthetic. I love their beautiful line. I think that the free program in particular takes advantage of their beautiful lines, classical but with a bit of a modern twist. But I'm really impressed with Vanessa and Morgan. They're my pick to take the gold. Partly because they just continue to evolve artistically. They've got great tricks, and they are so dynamic on the ice. That's the part that really captures my attention. They also qualified sort of top of the heap in the pairs event. So I think it's theirs to take. I think this will be their first Grand Prix final medal. So it's going to be interesting to see.
It's the first time they're in the final, actually. After all these years, it's the first time they've
Wow.
Yeah.
I forgot that part. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think the big key for them is getting through their short program. I don't know why, but maybe it's the intensity of it. Maybe it's the choreography, but they've looked a little bit rough. They've looked a little bit unsure. In France, they were in third place after the short. Yeah. So they need to clean that up because Tarasova and Morozov are typically very strong in their short programs. As much as I might not personally like their short program this year, there's no doubting that their technical elements are usually consistent. It's for them, the free skate, getting through it completely without major mistakes. We'll see. I think that I think it'll be close. I think so too. I'm going to go for Tarasova and Morozov though, just because they've had a little bit of extra time to prepare. I think that they're going to go into this competition trying to stake the claim that they should be the favorites going into the World Championships. But I think it will be close.
I do think it'll be close too. Here's what I know about these two teams. If the French falter in the short, it gives them something to aim for in the free, as they did in France. If the Russians falter, if the Russians are dominant in the short, they can get the nerves, they can allow their nerves to get away from them in the free. So each team battles a little bit with what's going on sort of in the brain. So it'll be interesting to see sort of how they're able to match that up. These are the top two teams in the world. So I am excited to see what they're going to do.
Right behind them, and then I guess they could play potential spoilers or maybe two teams in Zabiako and Enbert of Russia and then Peng and Jin of China. Zabiako and Enbert won both of their Grand Prix events this season, the regular season events, and then Peng and Jin were silver medalists in both events. What do you think about these teams, and would you say that these two are the two that are going to battle for the bronze?
Peng and Jin I like, but I think that they're not the same kind of formidable opponent that China has been able to produce in the pairs events up until this point. I think that on a good day, they certainly can make it to the podium. And I think the same with Zabiako and Enbert. Although Zabiako and Enbert have a bit more kind of polish for me. I like their speed. I think that their technical elements are good. So I think it could go either way, and it will depend on who has what we like to call a good day. You know what I mean? That's my kind of feeling about the two.
I was impressed with Zabiako Ember. They skated 2 weeks in a row this year. Their first week was kind of rough. Second week, they have no preparation for the event, and then they went out and absolutely nailed it. They looked really strong. Peng and Jin, we've talked about their short program all year. I really like their short program. I like the direction that it's going. I think they have fun with it. Not as much a fan of their free skate. I think you might be actually the opposite. If
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I am the opposite.
Yeah.
As usual.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting for me to see if the Chinese can hold it together completely. I think that they may be able to get into the bronze medal position, but that's a big if, and we'll see. I think it's two interesting battles here in the pairs. And then we have Delamonica Gorize of Italy and Pavlyuchenko and Khodikin of Russia. Delamonica Gorize, they're slowly and steadily kind of building themselves up this year from where they started in the beginning of the season in the Challenger Series. I just don't see them being a medal threat at this point. But the judges like them, and they give them the scores. They definitely push them. I just don't see them having the efficiency to yet be competitive with the top teams.
And especially, the free skate is really where you can see who's got the stamina to go the distance. And I think that the Italians are still very much a work in progress. I admire what they've been able to accomplish this year. But you're right. I don't think they're quite at that level. And neither is the other team from Russia, the junior world champions. They're not there yet. Despite having made the final, I think that there's lots of work still to do.
So let's say you're going for James Tsipras, I'm going for Tarasov and Morozov. Are you picking the other Russians for the bronze medal?
I'm going to just say yes, because honestly, it could go either way. But Zabiako and Enberg, okay, let's do that for bronze. Yep. Yeah. There you go.
I agree with you there on that part.
Okay, but you disagree for gold, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Moving on to the men. This, as we speculated, after his second event, Yuzuru Hanyu did withdraw. He's off the ice for at least a month, I believe. And that's going to take him out of Japanese nationals as well. Obviously, if he is ready for the World Championships, there's no way that he won't be sent. But I think it's a smart decision, as we said, if he's not even 90%, take the time off. So that kind of leaves the door open for two other names. World champion Nathan Chen from the United States and Olympics and world silver medalist Shoma Uno of Japan. This, again, should be a very close competition. I think these two have had scores way above the rest of the field this season, and they're kind of neck and neck. How do you think it's going to play out?
Well, I put in my preview for CBC Sports that I think it's Nathan Chen's. I think on a given day, this is a wonderful rivalry because these two skaters are very evenly matched in so many of the important ways, including technical ability. But you know what? I am in love with Nathan's short program. I just think that it's everything that I love about skating, from the music to the choreography, to his interweaving of amazing technical elements, and the look of joy on his face as he skates it. This is a program that he completely believes in. So from that standpoint, all things being equal, I think that this competition could very well be won or lost in the short program, and that's the short program that I pick. I love Shoma Uno as a skater, don't get me wrong, but it's this particular vehicle that I think is just superb for Nathan.
It's interesting that you said the short program is the do or die segment, because I think with other skaters here, and we'll talk about that in a minute, it's definitely the case. With Uno and Chen, I think Uno is more prone to making the big mistake. I think he had the wipeout on the triple axel at Skate Canada. He was all right at his second event. But I think what it's going to come down to for them is the free skate, and Uno towards the end of the skate tends to get a little bit sloppy. And Chen, what we've seen so far this season, we've both been really impressed that he's held it together. He's really landed his free skate at the most recent France Grand Prix. He got through everything. He landed everything. Yeah. He was solid. I think he is the favorite. I think he's going to take that stamina from 2 weeks ago, and he's going to push it. And I'm going to say that he goes away with the gold medal here as well. But now, talking about the bronze medal, we have Keegan Messing, who actually got into this event at the last minute. Looking at his potential, he might actually be the favorite for the bronze medal because he can distance himself from the rest of the field in that short program. He's someone that if he nails it, he's going to give himself a little bit of a cushion. And then as long as he keeps it together reasonably in the free skate, I think he would be the one that would come away with the medal. What do you think?
I think that definitely for me, the bronze medal is a contest between experienced and new. So Keegan Messing versus Junhua Cha, I think. But that's if both skaters skate to their potential, because Keegan made a substantial error on the short and on the free in his last Grand Prix outing, and that sort of took him out of medal contention. He ended up 5th at Rostelecom Cup. So, but on a good day, oh my goodness, he's wonderful. He has fantastic spins. He has beautiful jumps. He's got great choreography. So, and he's got that sort of experience, that seasoned look of a performer. I find that he's very connected to the program and to the skating and to the audience. So on a good day, I think that Keegan Messing is the one to look out for bronze. Now, I'm going to just mention Junhua Cha because, again, he has that sort of gangly look of sort of a colt running for the first time. He's 17 years old. He's not 100% over anything yet. Like gravity is still playing its evil ways.
He's Han Yu in 2010. That's what he is. He's like a copy of Han Yu where he was.
I know.
9 years ago. Yeah.
Kind of gangly and kind of loose, but totally charming and totally captivating. He also has great potential. So I think that this competition is going to come down to who's going to establish dominance in the short from top to bottom, 1st to 6th place, and that's going to be the hole from which everybody has to extricate themselves in the free program. So there isn't going to be the opportunity to sort of go, it's okay, I wasn't terrible, I can make it up in the free. You got to be good in both segments of the competition.
And these are two skaters that are brand new to the Grand Prix final, but you also have two other skaters that have been in this position before. They've been near the top of the world, and that's Brezhina and Voronov. Voronov is very consistent. I don't think that he relates to his music like the other skaters do, even in this competition. But he has his quad toe is very, very reliable, and that can also give him a little bit of a boost in the short program. Brezhina's having a good season. He skated in 2 really early events, so we don't know where he's at right now. But he has a quad sal, and when he lands that's another beauty of a jump. So those two, I would say it's going to be a long shot for either of those to medal, but I think they can make it interesting, seeing how they've really given a push early in the season.
I think that you're absolutely right. This whole idea, everybody in that event can compete. In truth, everybody in that event can be 1st through 6th on any given day. I think that for Brezhina and for Voronov I'll talk about first. He's a bit of what I would call sort of an old school kind of skater. Great technical ability, old school men's skater. The music is somewhat incidental to the performance, and I'm not sure that with stronger choreography, I think that he could probably punctuate the program with more musical highlights that correspond to technical elements. So I'd love to see more of that because this is a very strong skater, and he has been in the top of the world lots of different occasions. So that would be nice to see that phoenix rising from the ashes again. Brezhina, I think you're right, has had a great season so far, and he certainly can relate much more to his music. And you're right, when he technically he's good, he's very, very good. Problem is when he's not technically so sound, there isn't as much for him to rely on in the program component scores. Right. So, but I think that it's going to be a fun event to watch for sure. Can't wait for tomorrow night to happen.
We've seen historically some of these Grand Prix final men's events end up being a lot better than the World Championship events.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's at that level because these 6 really could deliver. It's not the strongest field, obviously, with Han Yu not there, but the 6 all have had really, really great skates this year so far.
Yep.
So I'm thinking this will be one of the standout events, I think, of the Grand Prix final.
I think so too. Yep. We agree again. Everybody sitting down?
Okay, who are we picking for bronze? I know we're both picking Chen for gold. Who are we picking?
I'm going to go with I'm going with Messing.
I'm going to go with Keegan Messing as well. I think he's going to take advantage of this last minute call up, and he's skating at home. Canada has an entry in the senior event now. I think he's going to take advantage of it, and I think he's going to come away with bronze.
A little bit of trivia. Do you know the last time that Canada was shut out of the Grand Prix final? I looked it up. That's the only reason why.
Maybe 1999. I don't know.
1998.
98.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 98-99 season because 98
St. Petersburg.
had. Yeah,
is
that
where
was
it was.
99. Yeah.
So, okay, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because this is the 2018-19 season.
Yeah.
But anyway, isn't that something?
Wow. Moving on to ice dance. This
Okay.
again, this is a field that does not have a lot of the top names that still plan on competing at the World Championships. You have Papadakis, Cizeron. They only skated in one event, did not qualify. You have Weaver Poge, who still plan on competing at the World Championships. You have Chalk and Bates, who are injured. Even so, this is 6 strong teams, and we have to mention Gilles Poirier have a wonderful free dance this year. They did not qualify for the Grand Prix final. They're second alternates. This even without all of these teams, this is still a loaded field, and this is a season where we kind of wondered if the quality would go down because we knew of all these retirements coming, but it hasn't at all. I think many teams have stepped it up, and many of these teams we'll see in the Grand Prix final. Leading the way are world silver medalists Hubble and Donahue of the United States. Do you think they can be considered the favorites in this event?
They're my favorites. Does that count? For me, Hubble and Donahue here, everybody else. So that's kind of the way I see this event. I think that Madison and Zach have, again, demonstrated that they work really hard in the off season to make improvements, to make changes, to give us something different when they return to competition. This season is no exception. I find that their rhythm dance and their free dance are both exceptional pieces of work. And for me, they are the standout team. I can remember things about what it is that they're doing. And that's always the acid test for me. Do I, in fact, remember the costume, remember the music, remember the feeling? Because for me, ice dance, as much as it's technically very challenging and very difficult, it's about what you make me feel. So if you can convey to me a response that is commensurate with the music, let's say like in the rhythm dance with the tango, and I think that they do that beautifully, then that's something that I want to take note of. I find that Papadakis and Cizeron, when we saw them in France, they did the same thing. Beautiful feeling. Like I really bought into that whole tango male-female tension. And I think that Madison and Zach do exactly the same thing. And then with their free dance, it's beautiful. It's a Romeo and Juliet story, but told in a very modern kind of way, and yet reserving that passion and that feeling that reaches right out into the audience. Can you tell I like them?
You took the words right out of my mouth for the whole thing that you just said about them. The thing that I was worried about, to be honest, at the very beginning of the season, I saw that they were skating to Kissing You for the free dance, and I was like, I don't know. You know, this is a big departure from what they've done, from what we know them as really intense skaters. But they've built this program in the 3 events they've already skated. They've built it to where it just has it tells a story in 4 minutes, and it has this sense of intensity as it goes on, and there's a beautiful quality to it while they're skating. Rhythm dance, I agree. They put themselves in that mood, and this is more of what we expect from them, that kind of sensual attraction that they have and their connection to each other. I think the biggest thing they're going to have going for them in this event is that they've had now 6 weeks off since their last event, and they've been working hard. They've been figuring out ways to make the program stronger.
Yep.
They're not a team that kind of just settles with what they have at the beginning of the season and
Nope.
they say, okay, I'm just going to skate it. We saw from the Challenger that they skated at the beginning of the season to Skate America, which was a very quick turnaround. They already had made several changes. So I have no doubts that they're going to come to this event very prepared and ready to win the title.
Yep, I think now there's a team actually. This will be their first Grand Prix final title if they win, and also their first Grand Prix final medal. How about that?
Yeah.
And this is their fourth trip to the Grand Prix final, I believe. Anyway, I just think that it's an interesting statistics. They just have done everything that they possibly could do to continue to improve. You know, when they changed and moved to Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon in Montreal, they made a commitment to try and do something different, to try and have the world see them in a different way. And do we ever? So as far as I'm concerned, they're they're pretty darn good. Cue the smolder. Hubble and Donahue. Love it.
Team right behind them, Stepanova Bukin of Russia. This team is another one that is really making a move this year. I think they're the ones that would challenge Hubble Donahue if there were any in this event. I think that they need to get through their rhythm dance before we can really talk about that free dance being a showdown. But I do think that their free dance is something special, and I think they can develop it a little bit further. I mean, I already love it, but for me, like I said in their second event in Rostelecom, they can make it more of an introspective skate. They can make it to something like Hubble and Donahue are able to do, where they make it all about themselves, and you just watch like you're watching it on something, a private moment almost. With them right now, their free dance is wonderful. I love the choreography. I think they could just push it a little bit further. I do think, though, that in this competition, if they have a good event, they're going to challenge for that gold medal.
Okay, if you say so, but I don't believe you.
No.
And I think in particular, one of the things that I would like to see in the rhythm dance, there's a very fine line when you're skating a tango between authentic representation and authentic characterization and cheese. So I think you have to really be able to, for me, Hubble and Donahue stay on the right side of the line with authentic characterization. I think that sometimes, actually, both Russian dance teams can go a little bit to the caricature is way too strong a word because they don't go that far. But I think that it's just a hint every so often of sort of stepping over that line and not that authentic representation. And I think that, again, this is one of those events that I think that the rhythm dance is going to set up what happens in the free dance. But I think that Hubble and Donahue's free dance, I agree with you. Stepanova Bukin of the two Russian dance teams, I prefer them as well. But I think that Hubble and Donahue really have created a moment in the same way that Gilles and Poirier have created a moment this year. It's just, I kind of know where I am and I stop tweeting and I actually look at what's going on the ice without doing anything else because I just, as a fan, want to enjoy the moment.
And Stepanova Bukin, I agree. The rhythm dance is, it's a questionable tango. And also, I think their skating is a little bit open still. They kind of have open positions throughout the rhythm dance, making it a little bit easier. And when you're comparing the top 6 teams from this regular season, it might be glaring. We don't know. I know the judges still like them. I just think that they can clean up their choreography a little bit in the rhythm dance. And also, I'm not really getting the tango vibe from them. I'm getting some kind of, intense vibe. But I have to say there are much stronger tangos this season. But I do respect how far they have come and how much they are pushing to become potentially world medalists.
And Russian champions.
Yes.
Right? Like that's part of the goal that has to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens for sure.
Sinitsina, Katsalapov, they are probably the bronze medal favorites. The judges are really liking them this season. They're getting their levels. I have no issues with that because they are very technically proficient. And she has come a long way, I think. He's a good skater. I think she was a little bit behind him in the beginning, and we thought that the other partnership that was formed out of this split was going to be the stronger partnership. That's what we thought 5 years ago now. It ended up being the opposite. This team has stuck it out. I think, again, we have issues with their free dance, and I think that they're not telling a story as much as the other teams, and I think they kind of get lost. They are probably bronze medal favorites here anyways, but I think more importantly for them, they're going to try to battle Stepanova Bukin to be number 1 going into Russian Nationals. There's not a lot of time between this event and Nationals, and we all know typically the team that comes out number 1 in their own nation is the one that really starts to get the push internationally. Not always. We saw with the USA last year it wasn't the case, but 90% of the time it's the team that is national champions that get that push.
Sinitsina and Katsalapov, I mean, they're a beautiful team to watch in many ways. But what I think when I think of them is that, especially in the free dance, it's as if they're hitting technical elements in order to get X number of points. So I would like to see, you're right, more of a, as I call it, a moment. And because I certainly think they're capable of it. I mean, they're enormously talented, but I just think that there could be something more that we could see from a performance standpoint that would be intriguing and interesting. So I'm fascinated to see how it will all turn out.
If there is a team that is in there for a potential bronze medal with mistakes, I think it's the Italians, Guignard and Fabri. They have really impressed me, maybe more than any other team so far this year, in the advancements that they have made. I think they have, we go back to these rhythm dances and the authenticity. I think they're another team that really believes and understands their dance. And
Yes.
I really respect how they're a team that has really flashy moves. I think they're always trying to look for entries and exits that are kind of unique or dynamic, or they do a somersault into their twizzles, for example, and there's always something going on that gives them that extra little boost, but at the same time it increases the risk level of these elements. But I think both programs are beautiful. La La Land for the free dance, we kind of say, oh, where is this going to go? But they've went in a completely different direction. They've used some of the slower music, and it really builds. It's another program that builds, and it's you can get lost in it. At least I can. And I think that they might be slightly behind the Russians in terms of winning a medal here, but I think, again, that rhythm dance and especially the pattern, if a team doesn't get their levels,
Yeah.
or they make even one big mistake, as we've seen so far this season, they can step it up and they can be the ones that get onto the podium.
Yep. And sheer hard work and determination and understanding sort of who you are in the world and what you can do, and then capitalizing on that is, I think, the secret to their success. I'm a big fan in particular of the rhythm dance. It's terrific, and it's a great vehicle for them. So I applaud their hard work in finding what it was that was going to speak to them. The La La Land free dance, I mean, first of all, I don't like the movie. Sort of complete honesty here. So the music drives me crazy. So when I hear the opening strains, it's kind of like how some people feel about Firebird. That's how I feel about La La Land. However, her costuming is perfect. The look of the two of them on the ice, their unison. You're right. They've got some dazzling moves that completely take me by surprise, and good for them, because I don't write them off at all. And the fact that they've made me a little bit of a believer in the music as well, that's not easy to do. So good for you. So I hope that it's a wonderful experience for them.
The two other teams that are here, Hawaii Baker of the United States, they won NHK, and
Yep.
Zahorsky and Guerrero of Russia, who they were on the bubble almost the entire series. We're like, oh, are they going to
Yep.
be able to make it? They're in. For the Russians, they're happy to be here. They will tell you they're not 100% yet. I think if they finish 5th place, they'll be happy. The problem becomes in Russia that there's only 2 spots to the World Championships. This would be the 3rd team, and a pretty clear 3rd team, I would say. Is there anything that they can do between now and nationals? I mean, again, this is a very quick turnaround, and I'm guessing they might have actually preferred to not be in this event, to be honest, so they had a little bit extra time
Yeah.
to prepare for nationals. But once you qualify, it's like, this is a great honor, so they're going to skate anyways. Do you think there's anything they can do to become competitive with the 2 top teams?
No.
No.
I think that it's already been determined. It's out there in the world that the other 2 teams are the clear favorites. Now, there's also, I mean, anything can happen. People can become ill, you can get an injury, you can get all kinds of stuff that then means somebody else. But just because something unforeseen happens does not mean that they necessarily would make it to the World Championships. I just don't think it's their time yet. I see them sort of as a bit of an afterthought in the ice dance field for Russian ice dancers. So I don't think that they're in that spot yet. I think it's those 2 teams, and then they're under it. That's what I think.
And Hawaii Baker are coming back from injury. We had no idea how they were
Yeah.
going to do. They won NHK, as we said, and then their placement combined with France, they're in the final. And
Yep.
this is what we talked about in France. This is the only other American team that has qualified to the final, even though there were 5 teams that medaled. I think for them, they just want to have a good showing, and they want to have that boost going into U.S. Nationals. They were on the world team already last year, so they already established themselves as the
Yes.
team that would be next in line. I think now, you have many teams that are kind of pushing, and for them, I think that a good showing will make them more confident going into the Nationals and getting one of those spots again this year.
I think you're absolutely right. And I really like this team a lot. I think they've got great charm and great charisma on the ice. And good for them for making it here. And I hope, like you do, that they have a great skate. And who knows, again, what could happen. I think the chances of them beating the Italians, beating the Russians, you never know. I think that they will probably be ahead of Zagorski and Guerrero, but it will all depend again on that rhythm dance.
And Zagorski Guerrero they're really solid in the rhythm dance. They get some of the highest levels consistently. So, you never know how things are going to play out. Again, this has been a crazy year as far as the levels are concerned, and
yep.
You never know. It'll be exciting. I like that about ice dance now. A good skate is really rewarded, and a bad skate, you pay the penalty, and that wasn't something we always necessarily saw. All right. Finally, the ladies' competition. This will be an exciting competition, no matter how you look at it. I think this is one field where, a lot of people complain about Grand Prix Final, how the events are either unfair or uneven, and then you kind of see not the strongest six in the final. I think what we've seen so far this season, Mai Mihara has a case to maybe be in the final over Samodurova, but these are six really strong ladies that have all stepped it up and really delivered at some point in the season. So I'm happy with this final. I think it will be extremely competitive. You have Zagitova, Kihara, Miyahara, Tuktamisheva, Sakamoto. Any five of these skaters could technically win. Obviously, Zagitova and Kihira are probably the two favorites. How do you think it's going to play out? Who do you think is going to step it up in this field where we see all the top names for the first time this season? And what else do you expect from the event?
So it's so interesting. When we think about sort of 12, 14 months ago, when Alina Zagitova appeared on the Grand Prix circuit for the first time, we're like, who is she? And she won her event, and you thought, well, she's not going to do that again. Well, yes, she did. And then she skipped all the way along to win the Olympic title. Kihira is exactly sort of the same. That first event, I just thought to myself, who is this girl? And then I thought, well, I wonder if it was just a fluke. Turns out it's not a fluke. This girl can really skate. So I do think it's between the two. The fact that Kihira is somebody who can land a triple axel and then a triple axel in combination. I think that certainly helps her on the technical side, but also her programs are beautiful. I'm a big fan of Alina Zagitova, and I have been since she started. I just think that there's something about her skating that I find very substantial. I think that she's got great speed. I love the security of the landings on her jumps, and the fact that she is so many centimeters taller than she was at the end of the season last year, and hasn't really faltered in the way that we sometimes see skaters who have grown take a little bit of time to sort of get back to where they were in terms of balance and technique, I think is remarkable. So I'm very anxious to see how these two do. I got to tell you, though, my sentimental favorite, and I wrote about this in my preview, is Elizaveta Tomisheva, because 2015 world champion, won Skate Canada in 2011, and had so many bumpy skates in between that it's great to see her at the Grand Prix final. She's somebody who can, skate with the best of them. So she's my sentimental favorite, but I think it's going to go to Zagitova.
It's really this is so unpredictable. I on paper Zagitova will look like the favorite, and Kihira looks like she would be the one pushing her. But Zagitova's had issues this year with her growth.
Yep.
There's under rotations that are starting to be called with her. That can creep up on her. Kihira, the thing about her is if she, obviously triple axel is a huge ticket item, and if she's not landing it, then she's losing a lot of points.
Yes.
Particularly the short program. I mean, there's Tuktamisheva, as an example, is very solid in the short program. She's including the triple axel. She's landing or at least rotating it, turning out, stepping out, whatever. She's getting points for it. She can distance her from some of these other skaters if they do make the big mistakes. And I know Elizaveta is actually increasing her technical difficulty in the free skate for this event. She's putting the triple flip back in. I saw on Instagram she's doing triple flip, triple toe like it's nothing. I don't think she's ever done that combination in her life. She said she would potentially put in a second triple axel. She's not going to do that for this event. But I think she really can be a dark horse here more than people,
I think so too.
More than people are realizing based on just the numbers. And then you have Miyahara, who I have some issues with her jump technique, and I have some issues with the cleanliness of her jumps. But there is no doubt that she is the artist of this field, and
Yeah.
she, aside from the under rotations, which aren't always called, she skates clean. She doesn't really tend to make big mistakes. And then you have Sakamoto, who, if she skates well and she actually delivers a good short program, she's right in the mix too. I think, honestly, any of these 5 ladies could win the title. I think it's at that point. I don't think, I think Zagitova is going to come in strong. She doesn't like to make mistakes. She's very hard on herself. If she does make mistakes, she's going to try to be at her absolute best.
Yep, I think you're right.
But I think really there's too many variables here. I mean, she needs that triple axel basically to be in contention, or she might find herself off the podium. So we'll see. I think it's going to be really exciting.
I don't know. Well, it kind of would depend. I think, the not having the triple axel in the short program puts her at a huge deficit in the free, to be sure. But I still love that free program.
No, I love the free program too. But starting your program with 2 triple axels, that's 16 points of base value. If it goes wrong, she does a lot in her program. She's very, very good with what she can do, but that's just such a question mark that if you miss even one of those, you're kind of playing catch up for the rest of the program. If I had to guess right now, I mean, I don't even know who's going to win. I don't. Who did you pick to win?
Zagitova. Yep.
I don't know. It's really like it's a dice toss because there's 5 of them that could deliver. I think Zagitova will win as well. I'm going to be interested to see if she's cleaned up some of that lazy landings that she's had earlier in the season. But again, I don't know what it is. Tuktamisheva, she's on fire this season. She's pushing for even more. If she can nail that short program and put herself in a good position, she might even be in the talks to win this whole thing. Miyahara is very consistent. We'll see. I'll go Zagitova, Tuktamisheva, and then I think Kahira will end up with the bronze. That's what I have to guess.
Well, as I said, I put Tuktamisheva in my preview as a sentimental favorite because I wouldn't count her out either. Yeah. The other thing is that Kahira, she may end up with a 16-year-old. How did I get here? Yeah. What am I doing here with the big girls? You know what I mean? So there's also, you can be head down and working really hard and competing well, and then all of a sudden you sort of look up and realize that you're in the mix with the top skaters in the world. By the way, who are only, it's interesting, there are 9, so of the 9, 6 people competing and 3 alternates. They're all Japanese or Russian. Nobody else sort of even figures into the mix. So 3 apiece for Japan and Russia as far as entries, and then an additional 1 for Japan and 2 for Russia in the alternates. It's really, I don't know that I've ever seen that.
And then we will mention the 6th lady, Sofia Samadurova, trains with Tuktamisheva, trained by Alexei Mishin. She's not going to factor into the medals here. But
I don't think
so this is another skater. We see Medvedeva is having problems early in the season. We see Konstantinova is not a consistent skater. She's prone to really bad skates when she's not on. Samadurova, if she could deliver here another strong set of programs, she's putting herself into the talks to maybe make that 3rd position at Russian Nationals for Worlds.
Nationals, yeah, for sure.
I don't see any other Russian ladies really stepping up this season. I mean, there's juniors that aren't age eligible yet. But you look at Medvedeva's problems, I don't think that she's going to be in contention this year yet. I think it's too soon for her to figure out her problems. I think her team knows this and they're okay with this. So they're looking really for that 3rd spot. And Samadurova is another one that's she's hard on herself when she doesn't do her absolute best. And we talked about it. She expects to do her best. So I think for her here, as long as she has 2 really solid skates, regardless of whether it's 6th place or not, I think that she's setting herself up to make a run to be at Europeans and the World Championships.
Well, I think, and good for her. I don't think that she has the finesse yet of some of the other women who are competing. So I think that she's got a little bit of time and a little bit of work yet to do, but certainly the raw potential is there. Oh my goodness. So congratulations to her for getting to the final. That's a huge accomplishment in itself. My top 3 prediction for the women's event at Grand Prix final. It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with Zagitova. I think, well, can I have them tie?
Yeah, tie them.
That's right. I think it's going to be Kehira Tuktamisheva. That's what I think. You and I flipped on silver and bronze.
But we have the same medalist.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's what's going to happen. Fingers crossed.
It's going to be an exciting event. There is a junior event that is tied in with the seniors. Trusova and the junior ladies, she's throwing in quads everywhere. There's five ladies from Russia out of the 6 qualifiers in the junior ladies. In pairs, it's the same thing. 5 teams from Russia. So we see where the strength is in the up-and-coming skaters. It's all tied in with the senior events. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Everything's going to be really exciting. This is always one of the biggest events of the year, I think. And like we said with the senior men, we sometimes see a better skated event than what we see at the World Championships in 3 months. I think it's going to be exciting across every single discipline. Ladies and men and seniors, I think that's where it's at. Even the dance. It'll be an exciting time. Make sure you check out PJ, CBC Online all weekend, CBC Sports Online all weekend, and on Facebook Live. Thank you for doing this with me all season. Next time we will see each other, maybe we'll preview Japanese and Russian nationals because we know these are 2 of the bloodbaths of the year. Yeah, this is going to be. Yeah. So we will talk again after the Grand Prix final. Enjoy it. Make sure you check PJ out. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. That is it. Any final thoughts, PJ?
Do you know what? Thank you so much for this. This has been my favorite part of all of my weeks, to tell you the truth. So it's just been great, Tony. Thank you. You're great to chat with and to argue with and to agree with and all the rest of it. And you're right. Senior men's and women's shorts happen tomorrow evening in Vancouver.
Perfect. All right. We'll see. We'll chat about this afterwards. Have fun. Enjoy the event.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.